Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, meine Damen und Herren, welcome to this very last plenary session of ISFiT 2013. My name is Trygve Thorsson. I'm very honored to be the host of this plenary session. I had the great pleasure of being president of ISFiT 2009, and I have to say it's great to be back. Just for us to know a little bit before we start where you are in the audience, I'd just like to check, is there anyone from workshop 10 here? No one, okay. Let's try workshop 5. Okay, good to know. The ISFiT alumni, are you here somewhere? Excellent. So you know this already, but I just have to inform you about it. The emergency exits are at the back, at the sides, and on the galleries. There will not be served any coffee or tea. So in this plenary session, we are asking ourselves a very fundamental question. Why are we doing this? This session is called an appeal to idealism. We have two excellent speakers, distinguished guests. Originally, we had 3, but Jeremy Gilley had to go to Russia on urgent business, so he could not be here today. He has, however, made a little video greeting for us that we will now watch together. So, as we say in Norwegian, snurr film.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Gilley. I'm the founder of Peace One Day. To the students and dignitaries at the International Student Festival in Trondheim, I'd like to congratulate you all on what I'm certain was another successful gathering of students from around the world. By students coming together to share ideas and stories, standing together as one, united, I believe we will create a better future. Students and young people are the leaders of tomorrow and can lead the way in the process of institutionalising Peace Day, 21st of September, a day of ceasefire and non-violence, unanimously adopted by the member states of the United Nations. The short film you're about to see will tell you more about the day and how together we can take an important step towards a more peaceful and sustainable world. I hope you enjoy the film, and please join us by signing up to Peace One Day's Student Coalition at peaceonday.org/students. Thank you for watching, and please start thinking about who you will make peace with on Peace Day, 21st of September, 2013. Hi, my name is Jeremy Gilley. I'm a filmmaker and founder of Peace One Day. 2012 has been a benchmark year. 280 million people aware of Peace Day, 4% of the world's population. We can double that figure in 2013. By working together, we can institutionalise Peace Day, making it a day that is self-sustaining. A day when children are not bullied, women are not hit, and guns are not fired. Our theme for 2013 is Who Will You Make Peace With? So let's find out how this all began. The first film I made was a journey to establish a day of ceasefire and non-violence with a fixed calendar date, the 21st of September. That documentary was called Peace One Day, and it told the story of how and why the 21st of September is a day of ceasefire and non-violence.
It is so decided.
It was an incredible journey, it was an amazing honour to be a part of it, and as a filmmaker, it really excited and inspired me that the form, the camera, could really drive a process through. The second film I made documented the first ever lives being saved on the day, and that took us into Afghanistan. Jude Law travelled with me, and that was a great success. Everybody became involved in Afghanistan, including the Taliban, who agreed not to harm health workers on the day. As a consequence of that, and because of everybody's hard work, particularly the United Nations, 10,000 vaccinators were able to go into areas where they couldn't normally go for fear of being kidnapped or killed, and millions of children were vaccinated against polio. It was incredible, and it demonstrated that the day was far from symbolism and that it could work in a place where many thought it was impossible. At that time, the UN in Afghanistan put out a press release with a statement from the United Nations Department for Safety and Security announcing a 70% reduction of violent incidents on Peace Day. It blew me away.
Most significantly, the Taliban also agreed not to block access to health workers involved in the campaign.
It made me think, if we can do it there, we can do it everywhere.
The cynic used to say that the day existed, but what difference does a day make? And what I saw in Afghanistan the 2 times we went was, well, the difference is life or death.
So I spoke to Jude and Ahmed Fauzi and to others, and that led to an idea, which was to try to manifest not only the largest reduction of violence in recorded history, i.e. in our homes, schools, local communities and between countries, but also the greatest gathering of individuals standing together in the name of peace on one day. We called this the Global Truce Campaign. In order to make it work, I knew we had to bring together a series of coalitions, each with a lead partner, and that's what we did. 2012 launched a student coalition, partnering with the National Union of Students in the UK, a coalition of organisations committed to reducing domestic violence, partnering with EDV Global Foundation, and a coalition of non-governmental organisations partnering with Interpeace. The results were incredible. Thousands of organisations were activated by the coalitions across the world. It was the greatest year for participation we've ever seen. As I mentioned, McKinsey & Co analysed the data. 280 million people aware of the day, 4% of the world's population in 2012. And for 2013, to build further awareness, we're going to add a corporate coalition. It will be significant. So, who will you make peace with? That's the theme for 2013. 21st of September is going to be a Saturday. It really is an opportunity for all of us to become involved in the peace process. By working together and making peace with each other, we will improve the quality of our lives. Peace Day is not just about a reduction of violence in areas of conflict, it's also about reducing violence in our homes, communities and schools. So who will you make peace with? Who will you bring together on Peace Day? Please get involved. Follow us on Twitter, join Facebook. Here's to 2013.
Thank you, Jeremy Gilley. Speaking of Facebook and Twitter, I would also like to welcome the ones watching us on the World Wide Web. We are streaming this session, so you can watch wherever you are on your laptops. We'll now move on to our first speaker. It's Bishop Munib Younan. He has since 1998 been a Bishop of Palestine, Jordan, and the Holy Land. And since 2010, he has also been president of the Lutheran World Federation, as the first Palestinian to be elected president ever. He has one wife, he has 3 children, and 2 grandchildren. So please, Bishop, the floor is yours. Make him welcome.
Thank you very much. I would like to start to greet you in the traditional greeting of Jerusalem, which says, the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God the Father, and the communion of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Dear sisters and brothers, first of all, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to be here with you in Trondheim, in ISFiT. I would like to thank Vilde that convinced me in my heavy program to come and join the international student meeting here in Trondheim. I do not regret it. I enjoyed being with you. I am impressed, and I hope the whole world will learn what Kaya and her team, what you are doing for justice and peace. You impress me. You are not the future. as somebody has said yesterday, but you are the hope of the future, and the future has begun today in you. Please continue to build this future, that it will be a better world for you and for us. Well, if I may introduce myself in order that you know who really I am. Usually I say, as I said today, I am an Arab, Palestinian, Christian, Evangelical, Lutheran. But I am also one of the 4.5 million Palestinian refugees who carries a UN refugee card. This is my identity. And with this identity, I come to you to Trondheim with a message of hope. A message of hope that Hebrew Bible tells us faith is the assurance things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. I'm speaking today in Norway. I'm speaking to people who have experienced pain and suffering. The horrifying attack of July 22nd, 2012 are still alive in your memories and in ours. On that day, you were forced by anti-Muslim extremists to endure a focused attempt to destroy your future, your political and cultural future. Still, you have courageously not allowed revenge and extremism to take over your response to this event. From the king, to the government, to the leadership of the church, to the youth, you have resisted these negative forces, and you continued to develop and promote diversity and a multi-religious, multicultural Norwegian society. Norway has become a sign of hope for me and the whole world. Please continue to be that example through this student movement and in Norway. Today people ask, is religion the cause of the problems in the world? I would like to quote a renowned theologian, Charles Kimball's. In his book, When Religion Becomes Evil, Kimball says 5 markers of extremism are: first, absolute truth claims; secondly, blind obedience; third, hope for establishing the ideal time; fourth, an ethic where all ends justify the means; and fifth, declarations of holy war. He writes, whatever religious people may say about their love of God or the mandates of their religion, when their behavior towards others is violent and destructive, when it causes suffering among other neighbors, you can be sure the religion has been corrupted and reform is desperately needed. When religion becomes evil, these 5 corruptions are always present. Conversely, when religion remains true to its authentic sources, it's actively dismantling these corruptions, a process that is urgently needed now. one of the great challenges of the 21st century will be to reclaim the power of faith as a driving force for justice, peace, reconciliation, and love. This is how we can ensure that faith is not perceived simply as part of the problems facing our world. To do this work, however, we must be convinced that no one religion has monopoly on hate or extremism, and that all of us, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Shintos, and others, are equally responsible and equally called to work together to seek the common positive values of our religions of love, compassion, justice, and peace, and together to uphold the sacred value of all persons, regardless of race, color, creed, gender, or religion. This is our hope for the future. This is the hope of our future. I remember 138 Muslim scholars wrote in 2007 a document called A Common World, in which they said the core of religion is loving God and loving the neighbor. And it's true that if religion does not love God, whom we don't see, and hate human, whom we see, then that's not religion. It's ideology. It's an ideology of hatred, which we have all religious people to combat and confront. Remembering that this source helps us dismantle the corruption of every religion, corruptions that would have us hate our neighbors rather than love them. It helps us to dismantle the claims of those who feel they must defend God and God's religion, as if God needs defenders. Instead, God needs people who not only love Him and worship Him, they need people who love their neighbor and love their enemy. Any religion that loves God and loves the enemy and the neighbor is a true, authentic religion. Any religious person who works against that, he is not religious. He is an extremist and anti-God. What will we do in such a world where extremism is growing? It's our duty and call to transform a culture of fear into a community of trust. And we can do it only through education. Education in our world of extremism is the only power that can transform human beings and transform them from fear and insecurity to love the other, accept the other, and accept the right of the other. While the phrase is being used less and less, some people still assume that extremism has brought again the clash of civilizations. They point to tensions between North and South, East and West, Islamic and Western countries. They fear that immigration will necessarily dilute the essence of their national character. For them, diversity is a threat. We can make a different choice. We can continue to let those who carve up the world into us and them, good versus evil doers, continue to define our world and how we engage it. Or we can resist this drive toward xenophobia and exclusion. When we accept these forms of dehumanization, we help create a culture of fear that regards the other simply as an object rather than a human being. The resulting culture of fear creates new gaps, builds new walls of hatred, encourages political and religious extremism, and above all, demonizes the other. It creates anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, Christianophobia, and just name them. We should never allow fear, hate, and extremism to hold our world hostage. We should remember that any move toward dehumanizing the other harms our humanity, harms us before it harms the other whom we think about. When a Danish newspaper published cartoons of Prophet Muhammad in 2005, protests erupted around the world because of the strong interfaith relationships in our country. I was able to work with a group of Christians and Muslims to respond to the crisis, because sometimes when you sneeze in Europe, we get the influenza in Jerusalem and the Holy Land and the Middle East. We explained to Europeans that Muslims, like Jews and Christians, have many faces, that the Muslim community is diverse and varied. But when their fundamental symbols and values are attacked, Muslims join together in their common identity. As people of the Middle East, we tried to convey the importance of that fundamental religious identity, even among people who are otherwise quite secular. At the same time, we, the Arab Christians, explained to Muslims that Europe is no longer a religious society. We in the Middle East often have a hard time understanding a European who would say they have no religious affiliation. It doesn't fit our brains. But even this lack of religion does not justify attacking religious symbols, holy books, or holy places. And in the name of freedom of speech, you cannot use that language. This is why I called for a code of conduct in the Middle East, which was signed in 2008 in Jordan by 48 Christian and Muslim leaders. And this document says we have to respect each other religious freedom and belief. Who am I to challenge the other religion? Respect of all messengers, prophets, holy books, religious texts, and prohibition of their discretion. Respect of all holy places. Respect of religious symbols. Respect for responsible freedom of religious expression that does not harm the belief and feelings of the other. The continuation of dialogue and human cooperation. I want just to show you, this is a sign how we make quiet diplomacy. Arab Christianity is a bridge builder in the Arab and Muslim world. We offer ourselves to the world in this capacity, and we tell you, come and learn from us, Arab Palestinian Christians, how to live with the Muslims, how to live with the Jews. We have lived 1,400 years with them, and they are good neighbors. We are one nation. We feel we are an integral part of our people. We are not aliens. Come and learn for us, because Arab Christianity should be the voice of Islam to the West, and Arab Islam should be the voice of Arab Christianity to the Muslim and Arab world. This will present an honest representation of the other as we learn to assume our other's name. Another sign of hope, which I tell you, I am very involved. I am one who established. In 2005, the Council of Religious Institutions in the Holy Land, where we have the two chief rabbis of Israel, we have the heads of churches in Jerusalem, and we have the minister of Awqaf endowment in the Palestinian Authority. Together, we are building trust. Together, we have called on our communities to accurately represent each other in the right way, at home, in school, at work, and in synagogue, churches, and mosques. Sometimes it's the clergy, the rabbis, and the imams are the problem and not the grassroots. This is the reason transformation should start from us in order that we can transform the grassroots. Over the past several months, we had a study on how the textbooks depict the other in Palestinian and Israeli books. And it has been very controversial the last 2 weeks on this study. The most important lesson to learn from that study, which is very scientific, Israeli and Palestinian books have a great deal of work to do to teach the values of coexistence, promoting peace and justice in their books. They are missing, and we need to improve our textbook to depict the other, to accept that there are two conflicting narratives. How can we turn these two conflicting narratives to a common narrative for peace and justice for both Palestinians and Israelis? That's the challenge which we are doing with our students. This year, if you may ask me about politics, this year, 2013, is vital for the continued viability of the two-state solution on 67 border. We continue to believe that peace is possible in Palestine and in Israel. Peace of two-state solution on 1967 borders. We continue to believe that Jerusalem should be a shared city. Settlement activity should totally end. There should be a just political solution for the Palestinian refugees. Resources should be shared, and regional cooperation should flourish. We continue to believe in these principles, and we ask the politicians in the whole world, not only in Palestine and Israel, is there willingness to bring peace for the core problem of the Middle East, for the Palestinian-Israeli conflict? If it is solved, all other problems will be easily solved in the Middle East. It is time for peace in Palestine. Often people ask me if I'm optimistic or pessimistic about the political concern. I answer that I am neither pessimistic nor optimistic, but I am hopeful that justice is coming. Freedom is coming to the Middle East because the hope has risen in Jerusalem, and it did not come out of Washington or Oslo or Berlin. Hope of the resurrection came out of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem and the Holy Land will enjoy that hope the sooner, the better, and quicker than we think. This is the reason I am hopeful, and I always teach my people to see the image God in the Israeli, and teach the Israelis to see the image God in us, the Palestinians, and to accept each other's humanity and mutually recognize each other's human, civil, political, and national rights. Only then the Holy Land will become a promised land of milk and honey for both Palestinians and Israelis. This is my dream. Today people ask again about diversity. Is diversity possible? When I see the many nationalities who are meeting here with a goodwill, I tell you, in our world, there is no other better solution than this diversified cultures, religions that are meeting in this room. That gives me a hope. When politicians are saying diversity is not possible, we say the only way forward is diversity. Palestinian Christian intellectual Edward Said wrote that no culture or civilization exists by itself. None is made up of things like individuality and enlightenment that are completely exclusive to it. And none exists without basic human attributes of community, love, value for life and for others. To suggest otherwise is the purest drivel. We must be as bold as Edward Said in claiming our connection to one another. No nation today is independent. All of us are interdependent. And that is the meaning of diversity in our present world. God created all human beings, nations equally. All deserve the same human rights and dignity. Our encounters with diversity call us to see God in one another and to understand the other as they want to be understood, not as we want to interpret them. When we understand the God-given intention that all be fully human, yet rich in cultural diversity, we will be more open to one another. With that understanding, religion can help bring us closer together than serve as a tool for condemning one another for ourselves. In Jesus' teaching and in religious teaching, it's only the diversity is loving the neighbor as yourself. That is the meaning why humanity is rich. For many years, my dear sisters and brothers, I want to tell you the meaning of religion is to promote values. A world without values is a world of chaos. A world that promotes violence, militarization, and consumerism is a world without a soul. A world with shared values of justice, peace, and reconciliation promotes pluralism, equality, democracy, tolerance, and mutual respect for all religions, cultures, and traditions. The Arab Spring started because our people in the Arab world were seeking for their dignity. And the dignity means full human rights, women's rights, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and freedom of conscience. This is not only now a Western value. It has become an Arab value. And we are interdependent together to learn from you and that you can learn from us. This is the reason, if the Arab Spring brings all these together, then it has succeeded. But if it brings extremism, it would have failed. We want it to succeed, and we as churches and people will encourage the Arab Spring to return the dignity of the Arab back to them, because their religions are religions of dignity. This is the world worth giving to our children. It is the least they deserve from us. This is a future vision worthy of our hope. In all that you have suffered, in all that you accept of the world we are called to work together to make, I ask you to join me in this hope, the hope of bringing back the values to our world, the value of dignity, and that no human being should be deprived of their dignity because of any political agenda. Every human being must enjoy their dignity wherever they are in the world. During the horrendous attack of 2011 in Norway, I was following very closely because I have many friends in Norway, and they are not only friends, they are brothers and sisters for me. And of course, I was worried because they were like my family when that happened, and they live near that place where it happened. And some of their children were in Utoya, island. One of the girls, whom I consider the hero of Norway, she said, after her experience at the camp, she said, if one man full of hatred has done so much harm, how much good can we create together if we have the same level of love instead of hatred? That girl is a hero. I don't know her name, I don't know her. Is a Norwegian hero. And I tell you, you are the people of love. If the 900 people in this room will have as much love as that man had the hatred, we will change the world. We are the future. This love must continue in us, and don't give up. We must be full of love to change the world from every part of the world. That's our call, and that's our duty. I would like to conclude, I like to tell stories. And I like to conclude with an Arabic story from the Arab literature. An angel visited the earth and wanted to bring our God 3 wise things and beautiful things from the earth that are worth preserving. As he was wandering, he found a beautiful flower. I am sure the good Lord will enjoy this beautiful creation because he created it. So he took it with him. I mean, I know, and I'm sorry, in Norway, the angel is a woman, is a female. But please, in Arabic, it's a male. So please excuse my language. Then he looked around and found a glittery piece of pure gold, which he also took up because it gave the angel great joy. It was glittering. It's gold. As he continued looking around, he was fascinated when he saw something strange. The love of a mother, hugging and embracing her shy clothes. This is also good. I'll take it with me to heaven, back to our Lord God, the angel said. Just then, a heavy storm broke, taking the angel back to heaven. As the rain hit, the flower withered. The wind then knocked out the piece of gold, which fell back to the earth. As he stood in front of God, he said, I am sorry, I did not find on earth anything better that will not wither or fall than the love of the mother that I can offer to your majesty. And if people on the world, on earth, can love each other as the mother loves her children, our world would change. Only love, my dear sisters and brothers, will show us the way to change our world for peace and justice and reconciliation, lifting us out of our present suffering. Love is our hope in this world. Love will create new values. Love will ask us to love the neighbor as ourselves. This is the core of the teaching. This is the word of idealism that you are dreaming. You cannot dream without love. Only love brings us hope. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that you may be abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. The world, the ideal world, is a world of values that love God and love our neighbor, even our enemy. This is my message to you. May God bless you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Shukran Katir, Bishop. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Ko Naing. He is known as the former chairman of the All Burma Federation of Students' Unions, which has played a very important role in the fight for student rights, democracy, and human rights in Burma. As a consequence of his work, Mr. Ko Naing was imprisoned and spent 20 years in prison. He was released in January 2012, and he's here today to address the ISFiT audience. Please, Mr. Ko Naing, the stage is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, based on my experience of last night, I got a strong impression. The street of Trondheim filled with the students with torchlight. This is the light for darkness corner due to war and conflict in the other parts of the world. Our helping hand will wipe out the tear caused by war and conflict. The song we played last night in the theater will also stop the cries of children who are affected by war. We will have more beautiful tomorrow. We will have better future. Our world is already beautiful by nature. It's become ugly because of war. We just need to remove war. We need to remove it forever. Why we cannot afford it? We just need to unite. We just need to believe in it. Now, I would like to share the last verse of International Union of Students song. Students unite. Peace is our right. Atomic bomb cannot weaken our fight. Firm is our stand. War shall be banned. Beacon of freedom is blazing every land. Students unite. Peace is our rights. Forward to peace and to happiness. Thank you.
Ko Naing. Thank you very much. I now believe that some representatives of the Student Peace Prize would like to say a few words. Please come on up.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you for a great evening last night. My name is Therese Høstad and I'm the leader of the Student Peace Prize. Yesterday we witnessed the great symbolic effect with the presence of Ko Naing. Ko Naing was awarded the Student Peace Prize of 2001 for his outstanding work to promote peace, democracy and human rights in his home country of Burma. In 2001, unfortunately, Ko Naing was imprisoned.
My name is Eirik Vikum. I'm the chairman of the ISFiT Foundation. The ISFiT Foundation ensures continuity between the ISFiT festivals and has safeguarded the prize money given to Ko Naing in 2001.
Finally, we now have the opportunity to give Ko Naing the recognition he deserves. Please welcome back Ko Naing to the stage.
We will now have a very short break, 10 minutes. For those and after the break, we'll proceed to a question and answers part. So for those of you who want to ask a question, you can sign up here in the corner. And please state your name and the topic of your questions. Okay, so see you all in 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll have questions from the audience briefly. Just to open our question and answers part, I'd like to ask the two of you, since the topic of this plenary session is idealism, how do you define idealism? And do you look at yourself as an idealist?
Let me, in Burmese, my mother language, my English is very poor. So, I am idealist, I am freedom fighter. I I don't
think I'm an idealist myself. I'm a freedom fighter. We are fighting for freedom, democracy, justice for the people who have been living under military rule for decades. So I'm not idealist. I'm just student activist and freedom fighter.
Thank you very much. I think, to define idealism is difficult because, you will really get into many problems. But, when I was a student, I put always, goals for me, and I tried to be ideal. And for me, every student, you are still studying, you are living the world of university, education, of science. You must have goals in your life. You must dream what kind of world you want to bring to us, to bring to yourself and to your children in the. For this reason, to be ideal for a student is a value. But you see, when you go to normal life, the first thing you face is idealism and reality. But even though, if your ideals are so precious, then you will not give them up. You will continue to fight for the goal that you have really put for. And for me, I think, when you ask me about idealism, I don't want to go into philosophy, because the philosophy idealism was not always successful. But for me to be an ideal, that means I have certain goals in my life. I will not give up for peace, for justice, for reconciliation, for peace based on justice and reconciliation based on forgiveness. I will not. This is an ideal. I will never give the ideal of equality for every human being, of dignity. I think I will never really compromise them with the reality. I will fight for them. I will fight for those rights that are basic human rights for every human being. And for this reason, I don't know if you call me idealist or not, but I work that idealism will be reality in the world.
Thank you very much. So the first question now is from Gulara, and number 2 would be from Majid. So if you could make your way down to the question table and get ready, that would be great. And please introduce yourself with your full name and where you're from. If you want, your workshop also, if you're a participant.
My name is Gulara Azimzadeh. I'm from Azerbaijan, from Dialect Group. And my question is, what is the role of religion in political conflict if there is a conflict between religions?
Is that
That's for me?
that's clear? Yes. I think it's for both of you.
Thank you very much. I think I've mentioned, and I continue to mention the same thing. Sometimes religious people get small-minded. And sometimes religious people try to fight on issues that are so doctrinal and they don't compromise on it. I don't know if the problem is religion or their nature. Religion never asks somebody to be stubborn and to humiliate others. Religion is always accepting the other. So if you read religion just to find all the problems, to disregard the other and deny of the other, I think you have not read religion right, and I think you have really to repent before you read religion. For me, religion is always, when there are conflict among religious leaders, they must first of all go back to the authentic, original sources and find that the Holy Scriptures, they always teach to accept the other, even if you don't agree. And for me, that is the recipe for loving the other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We will proceed to the next question. Majid, and if Andreas could get it ready.
Hello everybody, my name is Majid Rabhi, I'm from Algeria. I would like to ask a question about, I would like first to know, do you think that the media is having a positive impact on establishing a peace on the Middle East? If no, what would be the role of media to establish the peace in the Middle East? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the media is the source of the problem sometimes, not the source of the solution. For me, sometimes I visit the United States, and I hear the news about the Middle East. First of all, I say, should I go back home or not? Because I think, and secondly, in 3 minutes or in 3 seconds, they teach you either to be pro this side or anti that side. You see, the media, if they find two fighting, they immediately will be on the headlines. But if they find two religious people or two people who are dialoguing for peace, it's not a piece of interest. I think, as you are from Algeria, I would like to say, yes, the media in the Middle East needs to speak differently. The media in the Middle East should not deny the rights of the other. And many times, it's sensational. And I know sometimes, nearly every day I have media in my office. And sometimes when I say something they don't like, they never even mention they made an interview with me. So I think you are right. We have to teach the media to say what is right about the other, especially today on Islam, in the time of Islamophobia, especially. And many times, when you read what the media is saying on Muslims, I think, I think it's not acceptable. What about if they say the same thing about Christianity or other religions? The media has really to change its course and write what is right about the other, and not only be governed by certain ideologies or governments that guide them to say and indoctrinate the grassroots and not bring peace to the area. For me, yes, the media needs to repent.
So the next question will be from Andreas, and after that, Thomas, you're up next. So could you please make your way to the table here?
Hi, my name is Andreas, and I'm from Norway. Dear Ko Naing, you have seen a recent great change in your country. Is there anything youth living under other suppressing regimes could learn from what you have experienced that could help them see the process they want to see in their country?
Transitional period to Joa Valley. Alima, a Jiraga, Pelau Pione, Cheka, Yitibare.
I consider current stage of politics in Burma is in a transitional phase. But of course, we have to make our own measurement how far this transition, the changes are happening. But of course, clearly it is a transitional phase. And then we have to make our own measurement.
So, Banga, Biongless ago, Biome, a Levine, Ochivima, Yadwa Kakeshivare. Pane Uma to Lesoro, Sakahonga, no name, now Tueria, Tanjika, we don't like Lumiana and Tunivare.
At the top level, the government level, the senior politicians have been talking about changes and transition and reforms and so on. But in the middle level and the lower level, the message has not been clearly delivered yet, or maybe the people in those positions are not that qualified enough to move forward with the changes. But of course, the top level, they have been clearly advocating for the reform and changes.
Now, Doria, Tanjita, as well as Adigaro, a champion, Chasamuri, Jamabe. Now, we do Sunday Haunoma, call you Junior Adiga, a main Nagan at the Kubetabare, responsibility called that down with your move, looked about.
The main reason for the middle and lower rank people in the government, the problem with them is that they are quite corrupt in the old system, old regime. And they are just receiving the orders from the superiors. They cannot take their own decision. They cannot take their own responsibility. So they are so dependent on their superior.
Now, Atika, Yijika, General reconciliation at Tuanaba, Libreva, liberalize loaded Academa, Jongara, a son of pay Sanchez who Canada Bare.
Now we are trying to get a reconciliation in our country. So reconciliation of two extreme groups. So whenever we are in this business, we are risking criticism from both sides, from both extreme ends.
You can be the Kaluma Luneso, Taiso and Tamaraga Nibido, Auchima, the Viasi Lene, the municipal Winanti, let West of the Davo, General Sisana Shivare.
Us and activists and advocates of reform and democracy, we are willing to work with all levels of government from the top until the bottom.
I know Bamabi Nangayu, a Kaule, Mamimane, a Sule Mamimane, Pakri time Yemu Josava, you can be only the Maria to pay, Mapione Jenny to the Atape, Abia in his Evawe.
Regarding the changes in Burma, don't be too optimistic, as well as don't be too pessimistic, and just look at the reality. And there are two camps One camp advocating for change, of course, they are also driving for the change. Another are hardliners. They may pose some obstacles to the change.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And on the last part of the question, I believe it was whether students in other countries in maybe similar regimes can learn anything from your work. Is that right?
Trondheim the dictatorship Piatanga Kataro, Kati, Bavari Piare, Atati Piare. Era would know Piambio Darakama, the Novina Jonaria, not on a comma. Sacrifice doctors were Pale Lurama, through Namare of Satria.
To be a student activist fighting against a powerful military regime. We are going through very bitter life. When I share our experience, our bitterness we faced during the struggle, the students in Norway even cannot understand the word sacrifice, because the sacrifice we are describing is enormous. People may not easily understand.
You know, Ubama the Kula with Biobare, the care 3 generations. A poor democracy to a town jare, a payale democracy to a town jare. Now, so Dali, a leshy John Tenny, Newsapa, 2 late town java, John Council the only never.
I just give an example of 3 generations who have been fighting for democracy. A grandfather was also imprisoned for the same cause, fighting for democracy. Father was also in prison for the same cause, the same reason, fighting for and demanding for democracy. And the son, still studying in the university, is also in prison, just for the same reason, demanding for democracy.
The journal Armenia, Camaro, Niji Leba, a pay at a Pia, Town Zao, Joja, Town, Dortiale, Tarduele, Toa, through Toyano, Bama, a weasel near my target.
Put it yourself as a mother. This mother has to go and visit his father in very far remote area. And her husband in another far remote area. And to her son in another far remote area. She has to go and visit to father, husband, and son.
General, I can't eat a tweet. She be me. The can let we giant, General, quit lote, let we giant Murigo, look at Umari Shivare.
What is important is our forgiveness and kindness. Even though we are going through such a bitter life, bitter situation, when there is a moment, we have to express our forgiveness and our kindness. We have to do it in the right manner, in the right moment.
Uma Biawas, General, Situirima, Nisa Kere, Towny Chagere, Sitona Yiri, through inner struggle, power struggle, Peter Kama, Towny Yoro, General Piambio, Ludajin Sana, humanitarians of Piavare.
There are military intelligence officers who interrogated and torture political prisoners like him. But at one day, these military intelligence officers also come to the same prison cell as a result of conflict and power struggle within the regime. So he trying to show his kindness, love to his former oppressor.
And humanitarians,
we have to show our kindness to every human being, and then we all are human, so we have to live in humanity spirit. So it is the moment we have to show our kindness.
So we can forgive, but never forget to the true history to share on our next generation. Thank you.
So next up is Thomas, and after that, Hamimi.
All right. My name is Thomas Øvestad. I am Norwegian and Romanian. I am a journalist in ISFiT and also an atheist. So my question is, does the bishop and the church he represents acknowledge the dignity of homosexuals?
Thank you. I think I would like to start like this. First of all, you know, we have different societies in the world. There are some societies that this is spoken over the table. And in other societies, they are spoken secretly. But we know very well that homosexuality exists in every society in the world. And we are against those governments who criminalize and discriminate homosexuals because of their sexual orientation. For me, they have their human rights, and that is very basic. Thank you.
And Hamimi, if you're ready, we are.
Hello, I'm Hamimi Moho from Algeria. So my question is for Mr. Bishop. Okay, so you mentioned it several times during your speech that we have to love our enemy. And for me is when you love your enemy, he's no longer your enemy. And I see it like much more as a result than a solution. So in your point of view, what should be like, can you make this much more precise? How can we love our enemy, like the methods? The result is loving him, but the method is what? Like, how can we proceed? Because it's kind of hard, I think, for some.
You know, certainly, loving the enemy is one of the most difficult principles in the world. But you know, there are many examples in the world. Take, for example, our friend sitting here. When he tells you, after 16 years of prison, the enemy is his own people, his own generals. And he tells you he does not have hatred and bitterness. Even if the other has hatred and bitterness against him, he himself is released in himself that, and he does not have any animosity. Although he disagrees with them, he will not forget. And that is exactly what is loving the enemy. The same thing, when we speak of loving the enemy, first of all, we have to transform the enemy, maybe not to a friend, but at least to recognize that we have the same equal rights as them. And if in dialogue you succeed, at least you don't want to have them as a friend, but at least to see that there is another point of view than them. There is another point of view than extremism and hatred and oppression. If we succeed in our non-violent ways to transform the enemy to accept the rights of the other whom they hate, I think we have succeeded. And in many struggles in the world, you know, take for example Mandela. When he came out of prison, he didn't want to go and see his wife first. After so long in prison, he went to see Mr. Clark. For me, that is loving the enemy. To tell him, I have my rights like your rights. And it's our duty in our world not to create enemies, but to create those who really accept the rights of every human being and their dignity. Thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. So the very last plenary session is coming to an end. But before we part, I would like to ask you if you have any concluding remarks, or if you have any piece of advice for the ISFiT participants leaving tomorrow for their home countries.
Would you like? It's your turn. Yeah. It's your turn.
အထူးသဖြင့်လူအခွင့်အရေးနဲ့အချိုးပေါက်ခံရတဲ့တိုင်းပြည်တစ်ပြည်ကကျောင်းသားတစ်ယောက်အနေနဲ့မညီမျှမှုတွေကိုခံစားခဲ့ရတဲ့နိုင်ငံသားတစ်ယောက်အနေနဲ့ပြောချင်ပါတယ်
I, as a student activist from a country where we have a serious human rights problem, as well as we are treated very unequally by the government, I would like to speak from that position.
ကျွန်တော်တို့ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးအတွက်ကျွန်တော်တို့အားလုံးဒီမှာလာပြီးတော့စုဝေးနေကြတယ်ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးဟာအငြင်းပွားစရာမရှိပါဘူး
We all are gathering here to work for peace. The peace is not a controversial issue. It's a very clear issue. There is no controversy with peace.
ဒါပေမဲ့ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးလိုချင်တယ်ဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့ဟာနိုင်ထက်စီးနေအနိုင်ကျင့်တာတွေမညီမျှပဲအခွင့်ထူးခံတာတွေကိုတော့ဖယ်ရှားရပါလိမ့်မယ်
If we like to build peace, we have to remove all barrier that create or all barrier or system that create inequality and that give special privilege to certain group and then in the expense of others. So we have to remove all these kind of system and barrier.
တကယ်တော့ကမ္ဘာမှာဖြစ်ခဲ့တဲ့မြရုန်းကန်ရတဲ့ struggle တွေတော်လှန်ရေးတွေအားလုံးဟာအခွင့်ထူးခံမှုရဲ့ဖိနှိပ်ချုပ်ချယ်မှုကြောင့်ပဲဖြစ်ခဲ့ကြတာကြီးပါပဲ
The struggles came out of the situation and the context where a privileged groups exploit the rest. So as a result, the conflict and violence coming out of that situation.
စစ်ပွဲဆိုတာနိုင်ငံရေးအရာရှင်းလို့မရတော့လို့နောက်ဆုံးသုံးရတဲ့နည်းလမ်းလို့လည်းပြောကြပါတယ်
People say that the wars are results of political conflict which cannot be resolved peacefully.
ဒါပေမဲ့စစ်ပွဲနဲ့ဘယ်တော့မှဖြေရှင်းလို့မပြီးနိုင်ဘူးဆိုတဲ့အသိလည်းစိတ်နေတဘာဝ mindset တွေလည်းရှိဖို့လိုပါတယ်
But at the same time, we must be reminded ourselves the war itself cannot resolve the problem.
အထူးသဖြင့်တော့ revenge လက်စားချေခြင်းဟာလည်းဘယ်တော့မှစစ်ပွဲတွေကိုမပြီးစေပါဘူး
In the same way, the revenge will not end the conflict either.
အဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်ဖိလစ်ပိုင်နိုင်ငံမှာရောက်တော့ကတွေ့ခဲ့တဲ့အတွေ့အကြုံလေးနဲ့ကျွန်တော် conclusion ဆွဲပါမယ်
I would like to revisit my experience when I visited Philippines lately.
အဲ့ဒီမှာရှိနေတဲ့ ဗိုလ်ချုပ်ကြီးတယောက်ဟာသူ့အဖေဟာငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးဆွေးနွေးပွဲသွားတဲ့အခါမှာလုပ်ကြံခံရပါတယ်
I met a general whose father was also a general and assassinated while he was going to negotiate with the rebels.
သူရဲ့ယုံကြည်စွာသွားတဲ့အပေါ်မှာတစ်ဖက်ကနေပြီးတော့လုပ်ကြံတပ်ဖြတ်လိုက်တာပါ
He gave his trust on his counterpart. So his trust was misused and assassinated. As a result, he was assassinated by the counterpart.
သူ့သားဗိုလ်ချုပ်ကြီးဖြစ်လာတဲ့အခါမှာတော့နောက်ထပ်အဲ့ဒါမျိုးဘယ်တော့မှအဖြစ်မခံတော့ပါဘူးတဲ့
When his son became a general in the position of his father, his son decided not to repeat similar incidents again.
သူလုပ်တဲ့နည်းကတော့သူတို့အားလုံးရဲ့ mindset တွေ concept တွေကိုပြောင်းလဲလိုက်တာပါပဲ
The method this general son use is to change the mindset.
အဓိကကတော့စစ်မြေပြင်မှာရန်သူဘယ်လောက်ကိုတတ်နိုင်တယ်လဲဆိုတဲ့လူကသူရဲကောင်းမဟုတ်တော့ပါဘူး
The basic principle of that mindset is that the one is not a hero who killed many enemies in the battlefield. The heroism doesn't come from the fact how many enemies you can kill.
ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးဘယ်လောက်လုံနိုင်တယ်လဲဆိုတဲ့သူကသာလေသူရဲကောင်းအဖြစ်ဂုဏ်ပြုထိုက်ပါတယ်
The real hero is the one who can make peace.
အဲ့ဒီတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့အားလုံးရဲ့ကမ္ဘာမြေကြီးဟာတန်ရာတွေအနာရတွေနဲ့ညီးညွတ်နေတဲ့မိခင်တယောက်နဲ့တူပါတယ်
Our world is like a mother with a lot of pain and suffering.
သူ့ကိုကုသဖို့ကျွန်တော်တို့အားလုံးမှာဝတ္တရားရှိပါတယ်ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးရအောင်ယူတဲ့နည်းနဲ့ကုရမှာပါ
We all have obligation or responsibility to cure this pain, to remove this suffering, that is to create peace.
ဒီတစ်ခါတကယ်နောက်ဆုံးဥပမာနဲ့ကျွန်တော်အဆုံးသတ်ပါမယ်
Another real last example, so to conclude his remark.
Apollo 12အာကာသယာဉ်မှူးကကျွန်တော်တို့တိုင်းပြည်ကိုတခါကရောက်ခဲ့ပါတယ်
An astronaut of Apollo 12 has been to our home country.
သူ့ကိုသတင်းစာဆရာကြီးကမေးတယ်ခင်ဗျာအာကာသတွေကရောက်သွားတဲ့အခါမှာကမ္ဘာမြေကိုပြန်ကြည့်တဲ့အခါမှာဘယ်လိုခံစားရလဲလို့မေးပါတယ်
The people asking, how do you see and how do you feel when you see the earth from far distance?
အဲ့တော့အဲ့ astronaut ကဖြေပါတယ်ဟုတ်ပါတယ်ကမ္ဘာမြေကြီးကဝေးသွားလေကမ္ဘာမြေကြီးကတီးတီးလေးကြံခဲ့ပြီးတော့နောက်ဆုံးတော့မြေကြီးခဲလေးတီးတီးလေးဂေါ်ဒီလုံးလောက်ပဲကြာမှာတော့တယ်
When the distance became farther and farther, the earth, the globe is just a small piece of land.
ဒီမြေကြီးစာကလေးပေါ်မှာအတူတူနေကြတဲ့ငါတို့ဘာကြောင့်အားလုံးဟာလူသားပဲဖြစ်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့အသည့်နဲ့ငြိမ်းချမ်းစွာအတူရှင်တွဲပြီးတော့မနေနိုင်ရမှာလေ
Why we human beings living on this small tiny land cannot live in harmony and in peace?
အဲ့တော့သူ့အမြင်ဟာကျေပြန့်သွားတဲ့အခါမှာလူမျိုးဘာသာနိုင်ငံဆိုတဲ့ barrier တွေကိုကျော်သွားတဲ့အတွက်ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးအမြင်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်နောက်ဆုံးပြောချင်ပါတယ်
His conclusion, his understanding of the world is that if we can accept and understand we are living on the small tiny space, if people share this vision, and that is the beginning to understand and value how important we need to live together in harmony and peace.
Yeah, it's a point of view of human being to peace. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think at this time of the day, maybe I would say 3 things shortly, my advice to you. The first thing, I am thankful that I have been invited to ISFiT. And I would like to tell you and to tell the internationals who are here, don't leave it there. Network with each other and make a stronger international network with each other, because this is the modern model of diversity that the world needs. My second point, enjoy being students. Because if you ask me, I would like to go back to university. It's much easier than the normal life. The normal reality is difficult. And enjoy being students, but at the same time, plan to go to the real world. But don't go to the real world just to get money and to become rich. But go to the real world with an idealism, with a value, with a goal to change humanity. And this is the reason, my advice, that you should, with other voices in the world, all of you from different parts of the world, become a strong symphony to disturb the oppressor and extremism and to work for a world of love and accepting the other. My third point, you are welcome to hold ISFiT in Jerusalem. Thank you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ko Naing, Bishop Munib Younan. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us. It's been a pleasure. Let's give them a real applause. That's it. That's it, I guess, for the last plenary session. So, dear participants, please enjoy your very last night at the Student Society. Bon voyage, safe trip home tomorrow, and we will maybe see each other here in 2 years.